joining us today, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to share some insights on the fundamentals of starting a blue business. My name is Belinda, and for today I'll be taking us through collaboration and corporate innovation. I know that the focus here is more maritime and blue business, but for the purpose of this presentation, I'm going to make my delivery focused on business. And the idea here is at the end of the day, if you are able to gain the understanding, then you can replicate it in whatever field you find yourself. Okay, so let's move on into today's course. Now, at the end of the day, it's my expectation that we would have the understanding of what collaboration and corporate innovation is. We should also be able to know of their importance in today's business. We would as well learn of some challenges and some tools that would be useful during collaboration and corporate innovation. For the purpose of this session, I would take collaboration as an entity, after which we will look at corporate innovation, and then I would conclude by highlighting on how collaboration and corporate innovation interact and how they go hand in hand. I'm quite certain that almost all of us here at some point have heard of the word collaboration, and I'm sure we have a fair understanding of what collaboration is. And maybe we may have engaged in one form of collaboration or the other at a point. I'll start with a brief introduction. So like I said, I'm sure most of you have a fair idea what it means. But then when we come to management or business, what exactly do we mean when we talk about collaboration? There are quite a number of definitions out there. Sorry. But then I chose one of them from management scholars, and they define collaboration as a working practice whereby individuals or organizations work together for a common purpose to achieve business benefits or a shared goal. Now, simply put, it's just when a group of individuals or a working group come together to just combine their efforts in order to accomplish a particular project or a task. I believe you would all agree with me when I say that collaboration is not a new kid on the block. It's something that has been in existence in the business environment for many years. However, it is becoming increasingly essential and common in today's business. And this is as a result of two important factors. The first one, large corporations in recent times have come to the understanding that it is less about them surviving as an individual entity and more about survival as a whole. And this is as a result of the sustainability agenda being pushed globally. Without a doubt, most of these individual entities have their own uniqueness. However, whenever they combine their efforts, they are not only able to do more together, but they also reduce their impact on the environment. The second factor is technological expertise and advancement. Not all the corporations out there have the internal capability to keep up with the rapid disruptive technologies in today's business environment. And as a result of this, when businesses collaborate, especially with startups, they are able to leverage on their technological expertise, and in turn, they are able to fill their technological gap in their own entities. At a point in life, whether you have started a business, a startup, or you are considering of starting one, and then you are looking for some sort of collaboration or thinking of entering into any form of collaboration, it's quite important that you're able to ask yourself some questions before you enter into any collaboration with any entity or individual. You should be able to ask yourself that what are your goals? If you're looking for a collaboration, what do you hope to achieve at the end of the day with that particular collaboration? You should also be able to ask yourself that can you achieve your objectives alone? If you decide not to go into collaboration at that point in time of your business or your startup, do you think you have what it takes to achieve your objectives? You should also be able to find out that with collaboration be what you need to compensate for your weaknesses and enhance your business strength. What at all happens if you maintain your current course, if you decide to go for it alone and not bring anyone on board at that particular point in time? It's quite crucial for you to be able to ask yourself these questions and have solid answers for them before entering into any form of collaboration. Now, after you've been able to answer yourself these questions and you've made up your mind that, okay, collaboration is the way to go, you need to know the type of collaboration that is suitable for your business. Because as a startup or a small business owner, entering into the wrong kind of collaboration can stifle your business. So what are the types of collaboration? There are three main types of collaboration. The most basic and long-standing type is what we call alliances. Now, this type of collaboration usually happens when an agreement is made between two or more independent firms where they decide to combine their resources and efforts temporarily to achieve a purpose, a shared goal. An example is the healthcare and IT sector. Those of us in Ghana can attest to the fact that now most of our hospital facilities have moved to HMS, which is the healthcare management system. Please, are you still hearing me? I'm hearing noises. So.
Yeah, I can get you, Belinda.
Okay, great. Thank you, Anthony. So like I was saying, an example here in Ghana, most of our hospitals are now using HMS, which is the health management system. And that system came into place when at a point in time, the healthcare sectors and the IT sectors have to come together to put that platform in place. Another type of collaboration is portfolio. And this somehow came out of people's experiences doing alliance collaborations. Now, the idea here is they extract the best practices they may have come upon during their alliance collaborations, and then they try to implement these internally. So there is always a focal firm or company that manages the knowledge flow through a functional unit. This is quite common in the pharmaceutical and biotech firms. If you guys may know of or recall, I think when COVID-19 happened, there was this biotech firm in Germany called BioNTech. They were the pioneers to come up with the COVID-19 vaccine. And at that point, they had to collaborate with Pfizer in getting the vaccine produced and distributed. So that's a classical example. Then we move on to networks. Networks is when group of firms, most of the firms usually that engage in network collaborations are giant firms. They are bigger corporations. And what they do is they share their research and development goals relating to their products and services among themselves. Now, the idea here is for them to be able to share this knowledge and share their best practices among themselves. Delta, KLM, Air France, and I think a couple. Now, what they do is they share the knowledge that they have gained from their research and development teams and their best practices with the sole aim of reducing their air travel impact on the environment, as well as optimizing their routes. And so you should know that at each stage in your business growth, you have to know the type of collaboration that you're looking out for. More often than not, alliances is the go-to for corporations and startups. These forms of collaborations always happen in two forms. I'm sure we've all engaged in these forms in our activities, but probably not really aware of the management definitions for them. So we have asynchronous and synchronous forms of collaboration. Now, asynchronous happens when you are working on a project with a group of people that are probably based in different and so they always has work on their part of the project at their own times, and so they are not working on the project in real time. It's time shifted based, and then whoever comes next after that person will do what is required of them. And so that is asynchronous. And then the synchronous type is where the people working on a particular project are communicating and working at the same time. And so it could be that they are having in-person discussions where they are under one roof, or it could be through online meetings or instant messaging. Like I said, I'm sure we've all engaged in this type of collaboration, but this is just by way of information to let us know when next we are engaging in such, we know what it is that we are actually engaging ourselves in. Whenever a person decides to enter into any form of collaboration, be it with a larger corporation, with another startup, or another small business, there are some skills that you need to develop in order for you to succeed when you are collaborating with different people. One is for you to have the mindset for collaboration. Openness is key. You should make up your mind to open up your business to the people that you are collaborating with. You should also keep in mind that it is less about you and more about what the team would gain or achieve at the end of that particular collaboration. Another thing is you have to be technological inclined. In today's business, things are just constantly changing and evolving. And so it's imperative for you to learn how to use some of these emerging technologies in order to drive your collaboration. Last but not least is good communication skills. What holds a collaboration together is communication. And so it is essential for you to be able to build the skill to be able to share or transfer information accurately at the right time to the right people. This helps prevent loss of vital information, and it prevents project stalling and project delays. And so whenever you enter into any form of collaboration, you should have these things as a skill set that you have acquired. If you don't, you need to work on them because they are essential and help in succeeding during collaborations. Just like in any other human relationships, collaboration also has its own challenges. One of them is lack of transparency. Now, when people are collaborating together, for some reason, sometimes they tend to hold certain informations and they don't tend to share as and when needed. And maybe it could be out of fear that the other party may just probably steal the idea or business model. But yes, so whenever you are entering into collaboration, you should make up your mind to expect some of these challenges. There could be an issue with transparency with the people that you are collaborating with. There could also be an issue for miscommunication. Just in the previous slide, I had talked about having good communication skills. If you happen to be collaborating with people that do not actually have a well-structured communication channel, miscommunication is likely to happen, and that has a tendency of stalling projects more of things than you think. The other
Sorry,
challenge
sorry
is
to
different
interrupt you,
cultures and
Bell.
values. Now people are coming.
Yeah,
Okay, you
sorry,
can't hear
Bell.
me.
Looks like your presentation is not switching. Maybe you could stop sharing and then share your screen again, so we could try.
So where can you see? Which of
Yes, we are still on the first page. We are still on fundamentals of starting a business.
Oh wow.
Yes, so please, maybe you could stop sharing and then share it again. Yeah, thank you. Sorry about the interruption.
Okay. No, that's okay. It's fine. Thank you. You should have drawn my attention to earlier. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to figure out what is going on. So give me a second, please. Please, can you see it now, or is it still on the first page?
It has not started showing. Well, I think it's still buffering, still loading.
It's still loading.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
Well, it's taking too long. Maybe you can stop it and try again.
Okay.
Alternatively, you can send your slides and someone else can share for you if it still doesn't work.
I was thinking. Oh, that's it. Yeah. Or into that for my device or something.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry about this, guys.
Can you send me your slides? I can happy to share them.
Okay, Anthony, I'm just going to send it to your email. I sent it to Lawrence too, so.
Okay. So that we can both try. If Lawrence doesn't succeed, then I'll try to do it.
Okay.
Well, I'm trying to access your presentation.
Hi, Lawrence.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Okay. I'm sending it to Anthony to see if he can. Okay, Lawrence, how is it going? Anthony, please, I've sent it to your mail.
Okay, I'll check. Still on the way.
I've still not received it.
I've sent it to you haven't received the slides to your mail and also on Slack.
Yeah, I'm still to receive it as well.
What's going on?
You know, I think
It looks
Belinda,
sent from my end.
Belinda,
Hi,
I think
Anthony.
you were doing quite fine without the slides even, and everything was very clear. So what I'll suggest is that you just continue, and when we receive the slides, we can now start sharing. Okay?
Okay. All right, that's fine. Okay.
Yeah, I got
then.
it now. I think I got it now. So
Okay.
yeah, I'll just open, but you can just keep talking, and then I'll download while I download it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was on the challenges that we are likely to face with our challenges. Sorry, with our collaborations. I'm not sure what is going on, but anyways, let's keep moving forward because I'm almost through with collaborations, and it looks like you guys didn't see anything. Or I'm just hoping you stayed with me whilst I was talking though. So some of the challenges, as I was explaining initially, were lack of transparency, miscommunication, and also and trying to blend these two or three different work cultures and values together can pose a strain to the collaboration. Then there is lack of mutual respect. This is quite common when the collaborators, say there's one big company, there's a tendency of them sometimes not according them due respect, and so lack of mutual respect also happens sometimes during collaborations, and there is poor engagement. This is quite important. The moment you lose the attention of the people that you are collaborating with, because most of these people are quite busy, and so if you're unable to secure their attention throughout a collaborative period, they shift their focus on something else, and most of the time this end up resulting in that particular. When you enter into any form of collaboration, you should always make it a point to engage all the stakeholders that are on that particular project or task. Now moving forward, there are a number of examples
Sorry, Belinda, can you
for
see the slides now?
collaborative tools that you can leverage on to effectively manage your collaboration.
Belinda?
I'm sure most of us. Hi, Anthony.
Can you see the slides now?
Yes, Anthony, we can see the slides.
Okay. We're on presenter mode, and great. So I'll go to.
I actually can't see it. It's blank at my end. No.
But can the others see it?
Yes.
Okay, great. So Belinda, I think you just start with a blank screen and then so where are you now? Which slide?
Yeah, examples of collaborative tools, I believe.
Examples of, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So I can see video conferencing. Okay, so you just go where you want me to move to the next slide. Okay.
So these are manage our collaborations effectively. Anthony, are you there?
Yes. Yeah, I think this is a good example of collaboration, right? So we.
Hi, Anthony. I can't hear you.
Yeah, I can get you, Belinda. I can get you clearly. I think you were breaking for a while. Can you get me? Hello? Can anyone else get me?
Hello?
Yeah, so I think the problem should be from Belinda's side, right?
I think so.
Yeah, because you can get me clearly, so probably she's having problems with her connection.
Okay. I don't know if you guys can hear me because I can't seem to hear anyone.
We can get you.
We can hear you.
Oh.
Please, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
You can just reply in the chat.
Okay. Belinda, maybe I stop sharing. Probably by sharing, your connection has worsened. I'm not sure. Let me see. Belinda? Ooh. Can you all hear me?
Yes, Anthony, we can hear you. I think Belinda is trying
I
to
can hear you.
connect again.
Chinemi
Yes,
can
ma'am.
hear you.
Okay, so it should
I
be
can
from
hear
Belinda's
you.
end. All right. So I think maybe I stop sharing and see how it goes. All right, Belinda?
Hi, Anthony. Can you hear me?
Yeah, very well. Can you hear me?
Great. Yes, I can hear you now.
You know, I had to stop sharing in order to get you.
Because I couldn't hear any of you guys, so I just kept asking, can anyone hear me? So
Okay,
I
so
think it was my internet, so I've changed the source.
okay, good. So let me share again then.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I can see your screen.
Great.
We are on the 10th slide.
I think there's the tools, right?
Yes, that's some example
This one?
that you can use to effectively manage your collaboration.
Is it this slide?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, let me ask this. I can't operate from my end, can I?
Oh, no, you can't. I think I just have to move it when you want.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right then. So then I have to, okay.
So just tell me when you want me to move.
Okay. I'm trying to increase my size so I can see well.
Okay.
Okay, so we can move on to the next slide, please.
The recording has stopped. This meeting is being recorded.
Into existence. And subsequently, they expand this business based on that idea or that particular product. This has worked just fine for many corporations in the years past, but it wasn't until we ushered in the era of disruptive technologies, which has somehow forced most of these businesses to rethink and reinvent their business models. And that has brought about innovation. Please, can we move to the next slide? So when we define innovation in management sense or in business sense, what exactly do we mean? Now I see just the title page. Okay, I'm just going to keep talking so that you work on that, Anthony. So innovation happens, corporate innovation is the process of an enterprise or a business experimenting with modern practices, technologies, and other opportunities to make its existing business model or products or services more competitive in the market. This is the more technical definition for innovation. Personally, I prefer the definition given by Forbes because I think that's quite straightforward. And Forbes defined corporate innovation as having out-of-the-box thinking as a strategy within your business. And if you want to take it a step further, within your industry. Innovation usually happens in the areas of products, services, processes, and business models. Sorry, Anthony, can you move on to the next slide? Anthony?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think I'm here now. Okay. So
I'm so sorry, guys, for this. Well, at the end of the session, I'm going to share the slides, so you can still have access to them.
So
maybe
is it okay?
Well, at my end, I only see that the first page, so I'm not sure what the others see at their end.
Because okay, I see what's happening. All right. So how's it now?
It's still loading.
Okay.
Anthony, maybe you could stop sharing so that I could share from my end.
Okay. Let's see. All right, so try to share, let's see.
Okay, Lawrence, is this you?
Yeah, that's Lawrence.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, so yours seems to be working fine, I think.
Okay.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Thank you so much.
Great.
Okay. No, you've taken us, I think, a couple of slides ahead. I'm on the introduction for innovation, so that's slide 12. So can you please go to slide 12? Oh, thank you. So I was explaining some of the areas that companies usually innovate, and most of the time it's about either a particular product or their service, or it could also be some of their business processes or business model. Regardless of the area that a company is trying to innovate, innovation happens in just two forms. Please, can you move on to the next slide? And that is through closed or open innovation. Now, closed innovation happens when the company tries to come up with new ideas or new products in-house. So they try to utilize their internal means of coming up with new services. And they usually do this through employee sourcing, through entrepreneurship, internal accelerators, and other innovation techniques. In times when this has not really worked for them, they have to fall on open innovation. And this is when they try to look outside of their corporate structure to look for new products and ideas, mostly from startups. Now, the idea here is most of these large corporations may have challenges identifying some of these new disruptive opportunities. However, startups, on the other hand, seem to thrive at imagining what seems to be outdated. And so through avenues like external accelerators, venture capitalism, competitions like innovation pitches and the others, these large corporations are able to identify startups that have products and services that align with their existing business models. I'll give for an example. In Kenya, I think since 2016 have this National Innovation Award event that they hold each year. Now, the purpose of that event is to drive innovation at the national level. In this year's edition, they introduced a session called Studentpreneur. And the purpose of that was to support student entrepreneurs that have innovative startups and small businesses by giving them opportunity to network with all these large corporations that usually attend these events. Now, this is the thing. If a startup proves to be a good fit, then one of these large corporations can either acquire them, like in the case of Facebook and Instagram, or provide them with the needed resources to run a proof of concept or a pilot, or I think the most common word people know is a prototype, and ultimately help them to go to market with their product or service. Lawrence, please, can you move to the next slide? Okay, so now we would like to delve more into why corporate innovation has become such an integral part of today's business. Harvard Business Review conducted this research, and then at the end of that research, it was revealed that since 2000, 52% of Fortune okay, please let me quickly say this. I know most of you don't really have a business background. So if you see anything on my slide that is like too business oriented and you would like to ask about it, you can just note it and then you bring it up during the Q&A so that I can explain on that. But if you're all good, then I think we're moving forward. Okay, so back to why corporate innovation has become so integral into this business. When Harvard Business did this research, they realized that since 2000, 52% of Fortune 500 companies have either gone bankrupt, they've been acquired, or ceased to exist. And then through the research, they also realized that by 2027, we would have about 75% of Standard and Poor companies being replaced. The question now is, why is this happening to these well-established companies? And the answer is one thing: digital transformation or digital disruption. Most of these big corporations over the period, they expand so much that it becomes quite slower for them to adapt to some of these rapid disruptive technologies that are happening in today's business. Deloitte, Lawrence, please move on. So Deloitte also had another survey, and the purpose of that survey was to ask businesses why corporate innovation, why so much part about corporate innovation in the business environment. And then out of that survey, they realized that 2/3 of the large corporations, the companies that they had interviewed, had indicated that the only way to grow your business in this era and being able to differentiate yourself from your competitors is through corporate innovation. Now, 50% of those people had also indicated that for them, being able to satisfy their customer needs and meet their customer expectation required them to be innovative. Instant gratification is now paramount to the average customer because we want things done at just a click or a touch of a button. We want things at just our fingertips. And as young professionals, as early career professionals, this is where we come in, and this is where we have the edge. because whatever innovation is about, it's all about digital transformation. It's all about disruptive technologies. And young professionals that we are digitized, we are tech savvy, we are curious, we are creative. And out of our curiosity and creativity, we birth ideas that change the status quo. In the previous sessions leading up until today, some of the facilitators have highlighted some of the opportunities as well as the challenges facing the blue economy sector. One that stood with me was the facilitator for coastal tourism. He did not miss words on his stand when it came to entrepreneurship. He clearly stated that we need to position ourselves as young professionals, as entrepreneurs, in order to capitalize on the ocean's resources for economic growth and development. Lawrence, please, can you move on? Okay. So what are some of the benefits that we stand to gain as companies or as startups or even as two individuals trying to put something together by being innovative? One, it gives you a competitive edge. In yesterday's session, we heard something called first movers advantage. Those that are able to stay with the trends and then the times are able to get the required product on the market faster. And that always gives you the larger market share, and it gives you that competitive edge that you need over your competitors. Please, can you move on to the next one? The second thing is, through innovations, both startups and bigger companies are able to create or establish a mutually beneficial relationship. How does this work? Now, these corporations, like I said initially, rely on these startups to be able to keep up with all the innovation happening with the digital transformation, the disruptive technologies. And so through this innovation, they are able to rely on them, capitalize on their expertise. And once they do that, they also give these startups room to operate. Now, last but not least is innovation ensures long, successful standing businesses for future generations. I had just said in the previous slide that when Deloitte conducted this survey, they realized that most businesses have indicated that the only way to grow and sustain your business in this era is being innovative. Please, can you move on to the next slide? Definitely, with innovation also comes challenges. And the first challenge is fear of failure. Most entrepreneurs hesitate to take the plunge, although they may have a brilliant idea. So there is a saying, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it, that the best place to find the best ideas is the graveyard. And that is because most people do not explore the brilliant ideas that they get simply because they are afraid they would fail. And this hinders innovation. Huge hindrance from fear of failing. The other challenge is fear of change. And I think human beings in general don't like to change. And this was quite evident when COVID happened, because most people were so resistant to all the lockdown rules and all. And it's just because by human nature, we like to keep to what we are used to, what we know. And so we don't like to change. But for you to be innovative means you should be ready for change as and when it comes. Another important factor is impatient leadership. Sometimes leaders do not give their employees, their team members, the room, the space, and the time to be innovative, to make errors, learn from those errors, and come up with appropriate solutions. Then there is lack of budget. To be able to run proof of concept or a pilot or a prototype needs money. And so when we don't have the needed budget to support innovation, then we can't actually move forward with innovation. Then there's lack of team motivation where members in a particular team don't just want to innovate because they don't really feel motivated by their leadership. Then lack of innovation structure and processes. Most of the companies still in Africa do not have innovation incorporated in their business models. And so they don't have anything like an innovation lab where their employees can utilize and come up with brilliant, innovative ideas. Last but not least is always the mindset. Like we discussed under collaboration, you need to make up your mind to do anything it is that you want to do, whether to collaborate or to innovate. You always need to have a particular mindset for whatever it is that you want to do. In conclusion, just can you move to the next one? I'd like to highlight on how collaboration and then corporate innovation interact and somehow go hand in hand. And it's quite simple actually. Now through collaborations, these startups are able to leverage on the resources that bigger corporations have. They're able to leverage on their funding opportunities, their market access, their customer access, and their brand and other benefits. Then on the other hand, corporations also leverage on the technical know-how of most of these startups. And so it also helps them to stay ahead of competition. They're able to adjust to the digital disruption in the business environment. They're able to have access to these new technologies and have expertise to work with these new technologies. In wrapping up, as a young person, if you've decided to enter into any form of business, be it blue business or financial business or any form of business, in our times now, the first thing you need to do is you should be ready to think out of the box. You should be ready to think digitization. You should be ready to think locally. Your innovative ideas shouldn't be out of touch with your environment. You should also be conscious of how you innovate because we are all pushing for sustainability. The impact of your innovation on the environment is something you need to be mindful of. And finally, you should make the time to learn new tools. There are so many SaaS softwares out there that are so useful in your business endeavors. So you should always have the learning mindset to learn about these new tools. Be ready to strategize and adjust when the need comes. Keep up with the times and the changes that are coming with it. So this is it for me on corporate innovation and collaboration. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I'm so sorry for the mess up with the PPT, but I'm just hoping that you were able to get the actual message out there. So thank you guys. I'll now hand over to Lawrence.
Okay, thank you very much, Belinda, and apologies to the participants once again for the technical hitch. Rightly as you said, we are going to share the presentation with the participants as well as links to other reading materials that is relevant to the presentation right after this session. So thank you very much for the insightful presentation on corporate innovation and collaboration on the issues of innovation and corporate funding and some of the other innovative technologies. Because time is fast spent, we wouldn't be able to have the interactive session. However, we would want to do the Q&A session. I believe some people have some questions, and then we'll take them and then we'll direct them to you, Belinda, and we'll call it a day for today's session. So
Okay.
The floor is now open for questions from anyone. You can share it through the chat box and I'll direct them to Belinda, or you can actually raise your hand and then I'll call on you, you're on mute, and then you ask a question. So the floor is now open for questions. Thank you all. Question from anyone? Well, let me just add that, I've listened to, having listened carefully to what Belinda presented, a lot of what she shared with us is very relevant now in the maritime industry, now that the industry is focusing a lot on efficiency and sustainability, bearing in mind the importance of the environment as well. Now that climate issues is very topical in the maritime industry. And so there's been a lot of discussions, there's been a lot of stakeholder engagement at the recent COP27 conference that was held in Egypt. Climate change was very particular concern to the shipping industry as they are moving towards green shipping and cutting carbon emissions. And so there are lots of innovations going on. There are lots of collaborations going on between industry and innovative ecosystems, how to restructure or redesign business models to suit sustainability metrics. Also on the issue of automations on operational efficiencies. And so there are a lot of innovations and corporate collaborations going on, how to fuse the two, between how to get maximize on the technological skills of young people in developing technological solutions that address some of the very key challenges that the industry faces, even on administrative activities, how they can be streamlined with the use of technological platforms, information and data sharing between shipping agencies, companies, stakeholders, as basic as bill of ladings, how they can be transferred from one party to another. And so there are lots of innovative programs going on. There are a lot of accelerators, hackathons, competitions that are trying to identify industry challenges and bring practitioners and researchers together to think about how these problems or these challenges can be addressed with the use of technology, and how partnership can be very influential or crucial to achieving the results. And so just to add to what Belinda said, yeah, a lot of what she has said is very relevant to the maritime industry now. Let me just try and see if I can get, even on the issue of, in the area of maritime security, now that the region, now down to the Gulf of Guinea region, because we are focusing on Africa, the region is plagued with a lot of insecurities, from illegal or reported fishing to piracy attacks, to monitoring of fish stocks. There's been concerns of how partnerships can be secured between industry, private industry, and regional navies, with governments, with regulatory authorities. And so when I was introducing Belinda, I mentioned that she was the logistics manager for the International Defense and Exhibition Conference. And that's an example of corporate collaboration platforms where they bring regional navies and industry together to profile on some of the key challenges that the region faces with regards to maritime security threat, piracy, illegal or reported fishing, and how they can continuously monitor the waters to ensure that counter efforts are always in place to make sure that these illegal activities don't go on at sea. And so during the recently organized International Defense and Exhibition Conference, we had industry partners come to showcase their innovative technologies in terms of ranging from monitoring to surveillance equipment and advanced patrol boats that regional navies could procure to make sure to procure and then survey the waters and make sure that illegal activities don't happen at sea. And so this is one of the avenues, and this is something that the Gulf of Guinea Maritime Institute is a strong partner in the organization of this kind of conference. And we try to make sure that we bring so many stakeholders together, including young people, to meet with these industries and understand what they do, the thought process, the business modeling, the partnerships that go on, the resources that they need to develop all of these solutions. And so there's a lot going practically. This is an example on the maritime security side. And so it's key, innovation is key, and industry is still keen on engaging the innovative ecosystem to develop solutions that can address and provide solutions, businesses, and all together ensure a sustainable use of our oceans. Okay. So any questions from anyone on what has been discussed so far?
Good afternoon.
Hi, Hassan. Good afternoon.
I hope you are doing well. And thanks for the wonderful presentation. I just want to ask a question. When it comes to the collaboration, alliance, when it comes to the alliance, especially, I think it was type number 1. There has been 3 types. Alliance, I always hear in the political wise, they use this word or the word. So in the business wise or in the social service, let me say, in business wise, the way that alliance can happen, and especially in the blue business, I would like to get some explanations on it. The way that the things go to as these things or examples of healthcare and IT risk go.
I don't know if Belinda was able to make something out of Hassan's question, but I didn't hear anything. I'm sure he's having challenges with his network.
Yes, I think if I'm just putting together the pieces that I heard, but I think he wanted to find out how alliance works in the blue business. Now, the idea is that these types of collaboration, they work the same regardless of the sector, whether it's maritime sector or financial sector or healthcare sector or technology. What you need to understand is what you hope to achieve with that particular collaboration, because usually alliances happen when you're working on a particular project. It's not permanent, it's temporary. And so whichever project that it is that you are working on, if you are doing that on temporary basis with say a number of other firms, it could be that you are coming from the blue business background, but then there is another person coming from, say, the financial background that is providing money for the project. There is another person coming from maybe the IT background that is providing the technological support for the program. what you need to understand is at that point, whatever you are engaging is for a short while. And then the purpose of that is for all three parties involved to combine your efforts, your strength in making sure that the particular project that you are working on, you are able to accomplish that goal. So it's not different from, say, the private sector and then maybe the maritime sector or the government sector. No, the idea is for you to know what you are working on at that particular point in time and what you hope to achieve at the end of the day.
Thank you
I
very
think
much.
there was a question from Benjamin.
Yes. Benjamin was asking if collaboration has any effect on innovation.
Okay, so I think when I was concluding, I touched on that briefly. Now, the idea about collaboration and innovation is the fact that the two tend to go hand in hand. Because once you are collaborating, it's because you have a particular skill that the people that you are collaborating with are interested. And so if you are a startup that has come up with maybe this brilliant idea, and then you are collaborating with a larger, say, maritime company that is in need of that particular idea. Of course, you are the one coming with your innovation, but then because you are collaborating with a particular business or company, you are achieving both at the end of the day. And so collaboration in a way goes hand in hand with innovation. It's not, one can operate without the other, but then to have a successful business, especially in these times, the two have to go hand in hand. You need to look for people that you can work on a particular project with, and you need to also work with people that have the technological expertise that you are looking for. So I hope I've been able to answer Benjamin's question.
Okay, thank you, Bill. So I'm sharing some useful links that relates to the discussion we had today in the chat box. But of course, we'll share it with you in the mail together with the presentation that's Belinda delivered. Any more questions?
So I think there is a question from Monday. He's asking that if collaboration or corporate innovation can be enough for a business in terms of sustainability.
Okay.
Well, enough, because it takes a lot for sustainability to happen. But the idea is, once we are collaborating, we reduce our impact on the environment. And when we are innovating, especially in recent times, I think we all have at the back of our minds that our innovative processes have to be sustainable. And so, yes, they have a significant impact on sustainability. But when it being enough, no, because there are other factors that come into play when we are talking about sustainability, in addition to collaboration and corporate innovation.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Anthony has his hands raised. Anthony, yes, you can come in.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, Belinda. Thank you for the very enlightening presentation. And actually, this is very timely because we are in the ocean decade, and ocean decade challenges are entirely mostly focused on collaborative research and collaborative actions. And so it is quite timely, especially for ECOPs and the young professionals represented here, to start thinking of how to collaborate with people for different backgrounds and maybe different research and professional backgrounds. Yeah, so I have two questions. Do you have any particular strategy, especially for young people who have never really gotten into any form of collaboration, of how they can go about this? Where should they begin in the sense of, let's say, the blue economy or marine conservation and different aspects of the marine space? Where do you think they should begin when it comes to collaboration? Should it be small aspects like joint research, or should it be on aspects like starting a business? So how would you advise young people in this sense on collaboration?
Okay, thank you so much, Anthony. So I think I gave an example of something happening in Kenya, where they gave students opportunity to showcase what they've come up with.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, joint research is something in the right direction, but then we can't say that you have to just do joint research. There are a couple of things. Of course, joint research is one thing, and then having a startup or a not-for-profit organization is also another thing. Now, the challenge here is you may have the startup or the business, but how do you find the right people to collaborate with? And that is where we as young people have that advantage in terms of how tech savvy that we are. Because now there is so much information out there. In yesterday's session, we were so fortunate enough that I didn't really touch on those parts because I had already talked about them yesterday. But it's all about research. There are so many innovation labs out there. There are so many accelerators, incubators. Even at this end of at the end of our mentorship program, we have an innovation as part of it. So being able to find the right person to collaborate with on your idea or on your startup, you need to look for the right places. You need to look for the places that...
Recording has stopped. This meeting is being recorded.
And then from there, you'll be able to collaborate with these people. Because usually when you start out as a young professional, funding is always a challenge. And even aside funding, you always need someone to also guide your steps in the business. And so that is why when we are fortunate enough to have collaborations with people that have already established themselves in the business, it helps us tremendously. And so with that blue startup that you have established today, you need to be able to position yourself in a place where you'll be able to attract the right kind of collaborators.
Yeah, thank you, Belinda. And I have a second part to this question. And in this sense, I'd like to ask about blue businesses and regards to collaboration. Now, there are some aspects of the blue economy that are not really business inclined. And in that sense, I'll be thinking about things like, let's say, conservation. So it's not really a business, but it has tremendous ecosystem benefits. And so would you also encourage ECOPs to venture into these fields, knowing that you will not be establishing a business and you will need a large number of collaborators? And also, because it is so vital, you can also get substantial amounts of funds from international organizations to help you start up and also to help you continue to be sustainable in your operations. So would you encourage that for young people?
Of course, Anthony. I think you answered your question in the first question when you suggested that, I mean, it wouldn't only be in the form of businesses, but it can also be in the form of research. And so in an area like conservation, that is when you look for the right people to do your research work with and get the right grants or funding to support that. The goal here is we are pushing all sectors of blue economy. It shouldn't always be fisheries or aquaculture or coastal tourism. Each and every part of our blue economy sector contributes to our goal or our development as a continent. And so if conservation is what has catch your interest, of course, you should pursue it. And like you rightly said, there are collaborators out there also looking for young minds to collaborate with in the area of conservation. And so one thing I keep stressing is that you have to be able to do enough research to find the right information to aid you, whichever direction that you decide to go.
Okay. Thank you very much, Belinda.
Thank you to Anthony. And thank you so much for the assistance earlier.
It's okay.
Yes. I also wanted to add my voice to the issue of conservation, that it's not directly a business, but there are funds and there are incentives available to support people who want to go into conservation. It's not quite popular here, but you and I will agree that conserving our ecosystem is very crucial for ecosystem habitats. And so conservation is very key. The issue of integrated spatial planning, marine spatial planning, is something that is gaining momentum now, especially in African regions. Stakeholders are encouraging government to develop policies and management plans to support various conservation activities. And so not directly a business, but there are incentives and there are funds that are available from local government and from international donors to support African countries who want to go into protecting their ecosystems to enable habitats to thrive, So just to say that it's not directly a business, but there are funds and there are incentives available for people who want to go into that sector.
Yeah, thanks, Lawrence, for pointing that out. And it's right now there's BFN, the Agyemang Nature Conservation Agency, that is launching a program in Africa, beginning in Southern Africa, on biosphere reserves. So it's the aim is to conserve biodiversity as much as possible. And so they'll be moving from the terrestrial system to the marine system. And so there are a lot of opportunities and potential for funding in this new project, and this is so well funded that for ECOPs who would have developed proposals on conservation would likely be funded. So you should start thinking of potential projects which you want to, you would like to get funded, and start thinking of how to develop a proposal on this. And if you live in this region, because that's the pilot region right at the beginning, and they will probably be moving across Africa. So there's a lot of opportunities. And young people, I think we should take the opportunity. We should take these opportunities and put ourselves out there, but we also need to work for this. Like, developing a proposal is not easy. Also identifying the need, what needs to be conserved, is also something we should also have to start doing. So it has to be from the standpoint of wanting to see a change in your environment. Then you put in all the efforts, look for collaborators like Belinda has already mentioned. You don't need to invent anything new. There's things already going on. Look for people who are already doing these activities, work with them, and start something going. And then once the funds become available, you can then go in for some funding. So I think that's the message I would like to pass to you today.
And just to also add, there's a partnership, there's collaboration among key government heads of states. They call it the Ocean Panel for sustainable development, made up of about 14 heads of state from different countries that have come together to look at key sustainability issues regarding the oceans. And I know that one of the key things that is topical is the issue of ocean financing, innovative ocean financing. And they started talking about natural capital and blue bonds. And so it's development, there's the momentum, there's the interest, but I think that is where the issue really lies. Apart from collaboration, there's also the issue of research. And so that's an area that young people can go into. It's not always about, you can use technology to go into research and look at how you can develop models that can translate ocean data into sustainable business decisions, conservation decisions. So there's the dynamics to it. It depends on the approach you want to take. There is information, there is data, but how to model this data into meaningful decisions to inform policy development that translates into business practice or conservation practice is what is missing, is what is the gap. And so there's the data, but how do we use the data? How can we model this data? That is the question. And so research is key, and it's one innovation sector that young people can go into, how to radicalize the research area using different models, data models to interpret ocean data. So that's just what I have to say to add to the conversation.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That's a really good point, yeah. And if I may, I can ask one last question to Belinda. Belinda, do you have any specific approach to measure collaboration effectiveness? How do we know that our collaboration is effective? Are there any specific metrics for that?
Hi, Anthony, thank you. Okay, so the core of collaboration is actually communication.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and that is the number one metric to use. If your communication is effective, you are getting responses from the people that you're engaging with as and when needed. If the right information is being shared at the right time, then you know that you are making progress. But then if you happen to be collaborating with people that you send a message and it takes like a month for someone to come and say something, it's a red flag that this might not lead anywhere. So yes, how people engage in terms of communication, because the whole idea is, like I said, the core of collaboration is actually communication. Because in our times, especially this post-COVID era, most collaborations are happening virtually. Because you can be in one country, the people you're probably collaborating with are also in another country. And so your mode of, your only form of engagement or interaction, it's not like the person is here that you say you get up and go to the office to go and see what is happening there. And so if you are unable to receive timely responses, then you should know that perhaps they are not that much interested in it as you may have assumed. So yes, you always have to look out for how responsive the people that you are collaborating with are.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Emma.
Okay, thank you to Anthony.
Thank you very much, Belinda. I think time is fast spent, and we'd like to close the session for today. But there's one last question. Bell, I don't know if you'd want to take this one because the time is fast spent, but Benjamin is asking, I don't think the question is complete. He's asking, how does legal framework affect collaboration?
Okay, so one thing you need to understand is collaboration in itself is not legally binding. There is difference between collaboration and partnership. Partnership has formal ties. Collaboration is when you agree, perhaps it may be through MOU. As formal as they are not legally binding. So please, you need to have that understanding. So when you're collaborating with other parties or organizations, what you need to understand is, first of all, it's purely an agreement to do this together, to combine our efforts, our resources in achieving this end goal. And so if you want to take it from the legal point of view, then you are looking at partnerships, because partnerships come with contracts that are legally binding. Collaborations don't. At most, they come with MOUs. So I hope that explains that whatever it is that you are looking for.
Okay, thank you very much, Belinda. Time is fast spent, and at this point, I would like to draw the curtains to today's session. I want to apologize again on behalf of the Gulf of Guinea. We apologize for the technical hitches, and we will do well to share with you Belinda's presentation as well as relevant links that pertains to today's discussion. Thank you very much, Anthony, as well, and thank you to all the participants for joining me today. Tomorrow, so tomorrow, we will reconvene here to continue with the training session at 9 a.m. So see you all, 11 a.m. So we'll convene here tomorrow, 11 a.m. To continue with the rest of the training session, and we'll communicate the details with you via email. So thank you very much for joining us today, and do enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Okay, thank you to Lawrence, and thank you everyone for the attention. Thank you, Anthony. It's always great to have you with us.
Thank you very much.
So please, it's 11 a.m. GMT is GMT, so that you can make the necessary adjustments in your own time zones.
All right, so see you guys tomorrow then.
All right, see you guys.
Okay,
Thank you.
Yeah.